All right, you mangy roleplay furry Andes. Just kidding, guys. Sorry. Um, no, but for real though, this is like okay. I've been pretty disappointed with the World of Warcraft content creators in terms of how they make their like class picking videos. This is not like a throwing shade. I'm not trying to like say that they're bad creators. I just feel like I don't know if it's like people think they have to do things one way or if it's really how like the majority of the World of Warcraft content creators kind of think. But when people are asking for help on picking a class, I feel like the World of Warcraft community does not do a very good job of helping people to do that the right way. And now this could totally just be me, like, and my personality not getting along with some of those other perspectives. But from my standpoint, I feel very strongly that we should be telling people to pick classes based off of factors that will have longevity or I guess long term impact on them enjoying to play the game and play the class. And I do not think that it has anything to do with uh, even necessarily how the class plays or the numbers the class does or even necessarily the role of the class. You may think that sounds stupid, but my perspective is especially so. Okay, what I should say. Let me kind of backtrack a bit. The friends that I have who enjoy World of Warcraft, but not only World of Warcraft, but just MMOs in general, who enjoy these types of games the most and for the longest amount of time, and on the same character, is when they fall in love with like the identity that they build with the character over time. Maybe that sounds cringe. I feel like a lot of people fall into the category of like just wanting to do big numbers or something, but there's a very, very, very significant portion of the population of MMOs, specifically MMOs, guys, that are actually basically like role players, or even like closet role players, or the role players at heart who don't even really realize that they are role players. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when you look at the World of Warcraft character creation screen, right? You're a brand new player. You've never played the game before at all. You get this screen, right? You look at it. You don't know crap about how the class plays, right? Or what the class even really does. But what you do see is that I'm a badass dude with cool boots and two axes, and that looks dope, right? So this is going to be a how to pick my class guide video from a completely different perspective, which is like almost like the personality that the classes have and whether or not they may mesh with yours. Okay? So bear with me, guys. We're going to get started. The first thing I kind of want to do, though, first is describe the races a bit. Just enough to tell you that basically, as part of like your character identity and kind of falling in love with your character, there are a number of races in World of Warcraft. They all have pretty cool themes. They'll have pretty cool information about them and like lore, etc. about them. Some more than others. But even like humans, for example, there's a lot of stuff, uh, books and lore, and even like the old like Warcraft, the strategy game, the real time strategy game Warcraft, that you can like kind of dive into and appreciate even from like being a human's perspective. Obviously, we have the female body type and the male body type. They call it body one and body two because of politics and etc. I'm not going to get into that, but you do have the masculine versus the feminine body type there. Pretty much every skin tone you could imagine for the most part, except like crazy ones. It's mostly just like real skin tones for the most part. Um, Humans, dwarves, night elves, gnomes, Draenei, Worgen, Pandaren. Gross. Drakthir, questionable. The Void Elves, which is like a uh, basically recolor or redesign of the Blood Elf from Horde. Lightforged Draenei. These are the additional races that were added later on into the game. I actually haven't even unlocked all these because I don't care to, because I don't play as any of them. It's not difficult, guys. You just have to basically, I think it's like reach level, yeah, level 40, and then do a quest. So I could do it if I wanted to. I just don't play any of these. So I didn't actually do that. That's for the Alliance side. Now the cool thing about Horde and Alliance, which this does play into like the role play, identity of your class, is in the World of Warcraft. There's always been this traditional Alliance side versus Horde side, right? Blue versus red, hot and cold, etc. Whatever, right? The classic duality of the nature of creation, right? Is what World of Warcraft has always kind of based its theme around. So that's the Alliance races. The Horde races have the Orcs, the Undead, the Tauren, cool, like, I don't know, cow people, Trolls, the Blood Elves, the Goblins, the Pandaren again, gross, which, as you notice, can be either Horde or Alliance. Same with the Drakthir. No? Bad? And then their Alliance races, the Nightborn, the High Mountain Tauren, the Mag'har Orcs, Earthen, Zandalari Trolls. This is a really cool race, by the way, just throwing that one out there. Volpira. And the Haranir, just like the other one, can be Alliance or Horde as well. This is new to the Midnight expansion. We actually can't use these yet. They're kind of like forest trolls, sort of, so to speak. And the reason why I'm touching this isn't just for RP purposes, it's also because, as you may have noticed when I'm selecting each of these races, the available classes do change, guys, okay? You can only be a druid, for example, on either an Alliance Night Elf, or I think Worgen. I believe that is... Oh, the Coltiran, I believe, can be a druid as well. So it does change which classes you're allowed to play based off of your race. Pretty cool there. What I would suggest, guys, okay, the first thing that jumps out at you that you think looks cool, just play it. All right, just pick it. First things first, there isn't really much of a difference in terms of like the power that you will experience, your power level, based off the class you pick. There are a couple of sort of better ones, so to speak, for certain situations, but especially as a new player, I would not worry about that at all. I would look at the model, or just get the vibe off of the race that you see and decide it looks cool. Go with that. That's what I would do. All right. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video, guys. The classes themselves. So the warrior. The warrior in World of Warcraft is a class that I would recommend to anyone who sees themselves solving their problems with punching their problems in the face, right? That is what you do on a warrior, whether you're a fury warrior, arms warrior, or protection, which is like DPS and tank, basically. The warrior solves his problems with physical confrontation, whether that's from like an aggressive standpoint or even like a protective standpoint. You're still going to get into the fray. You're going to, hit things with your swords, your axes, your pole arms, etc., or you're going to block things with your shield. Strength is your stat. Think about things like that, guys. So that's the warrior for you. I'm not going to, again, just to reiterate, this is the last time I'll say it, we're not going to talk about, is it good? How much damage does it do? Because those things always change. So pick your class based off of the theme, how it makes you feel to play as that character, and all of these classes are viable, okay? Nothing is bad, so to speak, that you can't play it within the game, all right? So, again, last time I'll say that. The hunter, the way that I look at the hunter is the self-sufficient adventurer, okay? The hunter has access to pets, long-range weapons, short-range weapons. It's kind of more of like a low fantasy, along with the warrior as well, almost like more of a low fantasy play style. When you compare it to something like mage or warlock or something like that, it's a low fantasy, self-sufficient adventurer, the lone ranger, things like that. That's what I would say the hunter is like in this game. Mage is your classic arcanist, wielding the power of ice and fire and the arcane nature of the world and unraveling the mysteries of the universe type deal, right? That's the mage. The mage is a cloth-wearing, robe type character. I would say anybody who has always liked that sort of like wizard casty archetype, it's a good class for you. Pick it, go for it. It's a very nuanced class as well. It can be, or it can be simple. So you got a lot of gameplay diversity as well within there. Um, Rogue, your classic assassin. If you feel like sneaking, backstabbing, you know, or even like card tricks is your thing, rolling dice, things like that, that's the rogue in World of Warcraft by far. It's pretty cool. I think rogues were done pretty well by the developers also. There's lots of like lore and things with some pretty interesting characters that are rogues in the game, so that's the rogue for you. Priest. Priest is your traditional holy healer type of character. It also does have though the Shadow Priest, which I gotta mention because it doesn't really showcase that. But there's also like a dark side to the Priest you can play as well. Priest is my favorite class. I like a lot of the lore and the roleplay and the world building that is built around Priest. I find it easy to stick with and fall in love with it for that reason. So you always feel like there's characters that you can kind of get along with or kind of identify with within the game as well who are priests. There's lots of like temples and stuff in the game that are priestly. So that's priest for you. Good one. I would say if priest looks fun to you at all, try it out. The warlock. The warlock is the dark caster of World of Warcraft's world. It is a demon summoner, you know, fell green magic meteor type, summoning, you know, hellfire from the ground, things like that, but also like afflicting your enemy with like ailments and debilitating magic and curses and things like that. A very kind of dark fantasy. Done very well, by the way. I think Warlock's one of the cooler classes, and again, it has a lot of lore, and there's a lot of things to experience in the world that are related to Warlocks and things like that. A really cool class. Paladin is kind of alongside Priest with that, like, holy light wielder. Unlike Priest, which has that sort of dark side, the Paladin does not. The Paladin is a light-wielding avenger, a holy guardian, wielding the power of the light to, you know, heal allies and smite foes in a fiery vengeance, right? You can focus on purely DPSing, being a tank as well, kind of similar to the warrior. Paladin is one of the most played classes, I think, because the roleplay and like the class identity is so kind of classic for people. There's a lot of good Paladin lore and characters in the world as well. Really good class to pick. I would say if you like that kind of thing, it's definitely going to do you justice and you're going to enjoy it. I'll swap to Night Elf so I can do the Druid one here. The Druid is your, you know, nature wizard, so to speak. Healer, damaging. It can basically do everything. Druid along with Paladin is one of the most versatile classes in the game. But again, don't let that be the reason why you necessarily pick it, guys. Let Druid be your thing if you like the theme and the aspect of the Druid. So I touched on that sort of like nature caster wizard, but also you have like some connection to the stars and the moon and, you know, the night's energy, things like that, like the energy of the cosmos. And then also you have the ability to shapeshift, guys. Like a lot of other druids in classic fantasy or stories or games, the druid turns into bears, you know, cats, owls, deer, whatever, right? There's lots of like shapeshifting and things you do as a druid as well you have access to. So really cool. There's a ton of lore and story building around druids. Whole zones dedicated to druids. So druids have a lot when it comes to identity in World of Warcraft as well. The shaman, we'll go to dwarf here. The shaman is a, you know what, actually I'm gonna go orc. I haven't given horde enough love here. Although that's an absolutely terrible, Jesus, what is that? Preset is disgusting. Anyway, trolls can be shamans. Tauren. You know what? Here, let's go with Tauren because I can't look at that. What is that? I can't look at that. The shaman is a kind of like the mage, where you have like elemental access, right? Elemental spells, but from a more like primal uh, direction. Not so much the arcane and the unraveling of the mysteries of the math of the universe, and more of like a power within the nature of the elements in the world is where they draw their strength from. They have totem summoning, lots of like lightning and fire and things like that. Earth, the sort of main elements, right? Think of kind of like the Avatar. If you've ever watched like the Avatar: Last Airbender or things like that, where you're like elemental control. So if you thought that mage was your thing because you wanted to be like a fiery wizard or like elemental wielder, shaman is also a decent contender for that class fantasy, but from a more like natural nature side of things. So if you like that, consider shaman. Monks, no, not a Tauren monk. Crazy, crazy. You're insane if that's your thing. Just kidding, no shade. The monk is your traditional like martial artists. They also have a lot of like chi and sort of feng shui. There's a little bit of like an Asian theme there as well with the monk. I think the monk is a pretty well designed class. I think that there's a lot of class fantasy you can get from monk. It's also one of the more unique ones. A little bit less seen in other games and in their fantasy. The monk is pretty unique. It's cool. Um, Obviously, like the panda monk is sort of a classic, right? If that's kind of your thing. But I'd say if monk is at all striking your fancy, go with it. You won't be sad. There's a lot of variety with monk as well. Pretty cool class. The demon hunter has to be either a blood elf or a night elf as of right now, I believe. Void elves, I think they can do that with the new expansion, but anyway, we'll go night elf. The demon hunter is one of the newer classes. Um, demon hunter is a, how do I describe this? It's like a vengeful demon controlling fighter. The demon hunters do have a lot of really cool lore, and they have one of the best characters in any fantasy of any game is a demon hunter. He basically created the demon hunters within World of Warcraft, so you get to kind of be like a follower of his almost like cult of demon hunters when you play demon hunter. You basically use demonic powers against the demons themselves, right? It's very cool. It's very fell green. You turn into a demon, as you can see here. There's a lot of movement involved. It's very fast paced and aggressive and dark. If you like the kind of thing, it's definitely for you. Similarly, dark, the Death Knight, one of the coolest classes in my opinion, is a undead warrior of the Lich King turned basically good when we spoilers, when we won. It's such an old expansion, I don't feel bad spoiling that. Wrath of the Lich King is an older expansion. That is when this class was introduced. Basically, the Lich King had these warriors of undeath that he was controlling, and when he lost control, it allowed for the players to be Death Knights. Very, very cool, very thematic. Melee fighters, plate armor, big, heavy, slow, fighters of undeath wielding, frost magic and plagues and resurrecting, minions and draining the life force of the enemy. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Unique dark fantasy. Powerful character if that's your thing. I would recommend going there. Just dive face first into Death Knight. You won't be sad. The Evoker has to be a Drakthir. These dragon people. You do get a dragon form and a human form, similar to Worgens, who have like a wolf form and a human form. The Drakthir can be the Evoker. The Evoker is like a just dragon magic caster. Pretty unique to World of Warcraft. There's dragon things in other games, but this is like it's like you are a dragon and you use dragon stuff to do dragon things, right? You breathe fire and life into things. You shoot cones of flame out. You can fly, sort of, so to speak. Not like all around, but you do these little like flying things, zooming from one place to another. It's a pretty cool class. It's not for me, but don't let that make it so it's not for you. All right, if dragons and dragon magic and being a dragon and having a dragon form sounds like your thing, dive face first. Again, you won't be surprised, or you won't be sorry. I feel like there's good to all the classes in World of Warcraft. That's what I'll say. World of Warcraft class design is good, but just to kind of touch on what I was going to say, or what I was saying in the beginning of this video, I think this is the way that people should choose their classes over gameplay style and, is it good right now? Are the buttons good right now? Because Blizzard has been changing those things since the beginning of time. It's never the same. So if you fall in love with the theme and the lore and the design of, like the look design, of the class, that is going to be the reason why you stick with it. You play it a lot, you get good, and you have fun in World of Warcraft. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I urge you guys to use this as a selection style for your class. Also, I want to say, because Midnight's right around the corner, hope you guys play. Hope you guys give it a shot. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. Pick your class, stick to it, and enjoy. Catch you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.